Welcome to the Jeremy and Andy Talk Movies podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Andy.
Listen to us, watch us, all the places you listen and watch the podcast.
Yeah.
Follow us on the social medias.
Comment on our stuff. I get so excited when I see that someone commented on something.
That's right. We don't even mind when it's negative. It's just
There's been some negative. Yes.
this
Bring
person,
it on.
Yeah, this person disagreed with us. Cool. Yeah, we welcome any and all opinions.
Absolutely.
And I'll just say, I'm also really bad about ever responding to comments.
Yeah.
It's not because we don't read them or don't appreciate them.
Right.
We just see them like, hey, cool comment.
I both read them and appreciate them.
Yeah. But today we're going to be doing something different, something we have not done before on this
first
podcast. For the first time ever, we are going to be reviewing an animated movie.
Yeah, we are.
How about that?
How about that?
Not though an animated kids movie.
Definitely
could
not.
Be said. So we're going to be talking about the new Predator movie, Killer of Killers,
Yeah.
which came straight to Hulu. This movie did confuse me at first because there's another Predator movie coming out later this year that is live action into theaters called Badlands, both of them from the same director.
I know. It's crazy,
and
right?
So I got very confused when I was hearing this Predator Killer of Killers movie coming out, and I was like, wait, I thought it was
what?
So it's called Badlands. Wait, you're telling me it's on streaming, and I thought it was coming in. So
Yeah.
really threw me off, but I'm
Busy year for Predator.
Yes, it is. Who would have thought, just that Predator would be such a strong franchise, just continuing to crank out materials. We'll get into that more later, I'm sure, as we talk about Trachtenberg and what he's doing with it. But I'll try to give a little summary of this one here, and then we'll jump into it. So this animated feature is a chapter film in which it shows the stories of three characters from different places and times: a Viking woman in 841, a samurai man in 1609 Japan, and a young American man from 1942, each of whom had an encounter and killed a predator. In the final act, they have been captured and brought to the Predator planet to be part of their gladiatorial games, where the leader of the Predators intends to beat their champion as a display of his title of Killer of Killers. Yeah. Andy.
Yeah.
Was this movie good?
Yeah. I thought this movie was awesome. And I'm not an animated movie kind of guy, really. I mean, I'm not against them, but I don't have a lot of, and honestly, when I heard this was coming out, I was like, okay, like going pretty heavy on Predator this year. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. It is a good bit of fun.
Yeah.
I think especially when you're not expecting much. I think I was the same way as you. Wasn't excited for this.
Right. I mean, I wasn't not excited because you say Predator and you're like, well, the Predator is so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just maybe was just like, I don't know, whatever. And then I watched like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Especially though, coming out, like I said, with
it's
another
strange.
one coming out, it had a little bit of like Animatrix feel to it. Like, well, why am I, we're getting like a precursor animated movie. And not that I even thought they were connected necessarily. But it just, anytime something's animated, I think it always has to work a little harder to like get me in. Most movies I go to, like, I'm in from the beginning. I'm just like accepting, like, okay, what do we got for me? With the animated movies, I'm kind of like, you gotta win me over. You gotta make me start feeling like I'm invested in this world. Because the first thing is you're just always, it looks different from the world. So you gotta draw me into that world.
And this looks different than most animated movies.
Yeah.
I mean, this has a very unique look to it.
It's got a distinct style. I didn't read a lot of the trivia for this one, but there was some about, there's like kind of a unique method that they use to make this animation and like that figures.
Yeah.
But the visuals are very cool. They made the most of the medium they were working with.
Absolutely.
That is, Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, if you're going to do a Predator animated movie, you need to convince me that this needed to be an animated movie. And like you said, they utilize their what am I trying to say? Their method, I guess. I don't know. It worked great. They really had fun with the animation and what that allowed them to do.
Yeah. So exactly. What animation allows you to do is so much more than because because it is all just animated. You can go really big. The scale can be big. It can be a little more wild. It can be a little less realistic, honestly.
You can bend a little bit.
Yeah. The scale of things obviously is very unrealistic. I mean, even just like people standing next to each other, because they make big, strong people like gigantic and things like that.
That all worked in this, though.
It does work. And this movie is, first off, I should say this. I'm actually going to go ahead and give the spoiler warning right now, just
It's
because.
really tough to talk about anything that happens in this.
Yes, I even felt bad in the summary, like saying some
Hmm.
things, but yeah. So we'll give the spoiler warning because I wanted to get in a couple things.
Yeah.
But uh, one thing I wrote is, as much as I did love this, it is barely a movie
Yeah.
because it is one, it's short, and the chapters, it is, it just doesn't flow like any kind of movie
No, it
does.
doesn't. I
It's
agree with
like
that.
here's several just short action
Yeah.
scenes
What is
that
this,
we're
like an
stitching
hour and 20
together.
minutes or hour and
I
25
think it's an hour
maybe?
25, but that includes the credits.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Hour
you're
and 20
really,
basically.
yeah. And so when you've got the three backstories and then the final act together, yeah, I mean, you're breaking it down to like not a lot of time
Right.
for each.
Yep.
So, um, I mean, you're really looking at 20 minutes for each
Mhm.
with each of those. So there's not a lot of character development because they're really focused on the action. I don't even mean that as a terrible thing because I do think they give you enough.
I was going to say, they give you what you need to know,
Yeah.
I think. Especially, I think, in the samurai one,
Mm.
where it's just like you get, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes maybe of backstory. Conflict between two brothers,
Yeah.
two samurai brothers. Okay, that's what I need to know.
Yeah. I mean, and some of it is just, you know, action movie tropes. Here's this trope. Here's this trope. This
Oh,
trope. So you're
yeah.
familiar and you got it. But yeah, like I said, it does enough. The Viking woman, it's vengeance for her father that she's
Yeah.
after. The
And
samurai.
that's probably the one that takes the most time to set anything up before the predator shows up.
Yeah, the samurais, like you said, two brothers who have been pitted against each other
Yep.
because of the father, and so they're like strained relationship.
Yep.
And then with the American kid, it's like him just trying to like make it.
Yeah.
Like that sort of American dream. Like I want to be a pilot. He ends up in World War II, and he does it. So
Yeah. And all these stories were kept simple, but in the best way possible. Because here's the thing: if you're watching a Predator animated movie, you know what the Predator is, you know what he can do. We don't need to waste time with that. Just give me enough so I at least have somewhat of an idea who he's fighting, and then let him fight. And that's what this movie
Yeah.
does. It's a really smart movie as far as like knowing what it is and who its audience is, I think.
yes. Um, you know what my biggest nitpick is though with this movie, and
What's
it's really
that?
kind of a nitpick with a lot of Predator stuff, but especially in this movie. I just don't buy that any of these people ever beat any of the Predators.
So that's the thing. I mean, we might as well just talk about this now because like halfway through the movie, like when the two samurais killed that predator and they chop him up, I was like, man, is this movie doing the predator character a disservice?
Yeah.
Because like, okay, it's fine when Arnold beats him.
Yeah. But I think about it like even when Arnold beats him, Arnold and all his like strength and capability can't just beat the Predator straight up. He tricks him and uses,
Yeah.
like lowers him into a trap
Yeah.
to beat him. Is
Right.
how Arnold beats
These
him.
people are
They're just straight up beating him.
they are. So that was definitely a choice.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's what I like. So I may be jumping way ahead. So like you said, Dan Trachtenberg?
Trachtenberg, yeah.
Trachtenberg. So he obviously just adores the Predator franchise. He directed Prey.
That's right. Which kind of revitalized the franchise.
Absolutely. And Prey, by the way, awesome.
Yes.
So it's like, it does make me feel a little bit better that Prey, this, and the upcoming Badlands are all under his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So if I guess what I'm trying to say is if I want anyone to make the choice that we're going to see just human beings kill the Predator, I'm happy it's him. And it's kind of all under this umbrella of these new Predator movies he's doing because he seems to have such a reverence for this franchise. It's kind of one of those like, I'm just going to trust his judgment because he's sticking with this franchise. He's clearly pouring his heart into this franchise. So it was a choice, but it wasn't just randomly out of nowhere, like just a one-off movie where all of a sudden people are just chopping the Predator's head off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I find a little bit of comfort in knowing it's under his control, I guess.
Yeah. One thing I do think is probably not, I mean, it's not implied anywhere in the movie, but I think you can extrapolate it, is that these stories are so spread out over time, is essentially saying that like it's very rare that anybody
doesn't
beats a
happen that
predator.
often.
Right. Like predators are kind of consistently throughout history, and it took from like hundreds of years for 3 examples of.
Right.
So what I thought was, would it have been a better movie if it was 5 stories and in 2 of them, you don't know which 2, the characters don't win.
Yeah, I
The
would have been all
predators
for
win.
it.
So then you're always wondering, like, instead of saying, I know what I'm watching the story of the 3 people who successfully killed predators.
Yeah.
You're going, I'm seeing stories of people facing predators.
Some
of
win,
them
some
win,
lose.
some don't.
That would be cool.
And, part of that's because I enjoyed this 125-minute movie. I would have been okay with it being 2 hours, and you put in 2 more stories. That's no problem.
Yeah,
You could have put in 3 more stories. I probably
mhm.
wouldn't have had a problem. It was probably safer for them to make it short,
Yeah.
and not stretch that too much. But it's always a good problem to have where people say I could have used more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
That's a great problem to have instead of get this over with.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, honestly, like that was one of the things that I kind of got excited when I was about to turn the movie on. I saw an hour and 25 minutes. I was like, oh, this is gonna be no problem.
Yeah.
Like even if it is bad,
Yeah. Hour and 25 minutes. No
but
big deal.
luckily it wasn't.
No,
wasn't
not
bad.
at all.
Um, my other not a nitpick, just note was though like once you're on the Predator's world, which they are at the end,
Yeah.
like you've lost. Like
You
you're
have.
kind of in a no-win situation because even if you like, what's your plan to escape? Even if you get away from the
You're
Predators,
dead.
even if you steal one of their ships and figure out how to fly it, you don't know where you are. You don't know how to traverse space. Like
Yeah,
you're just kind of in this
you're
like
done
I'm
for.
completely
Yeah.
at a loss.
That was definitely my least favorite part of the movie. I would say just them being on the Predator's planet.
Yeah.
I just always think it just works cooler to have the Predator out of his element hunting.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it begins to stretch even further to like there's no way these people are gonna could actually outfight all this.
No,
surrounding.
that's my least favorite part of the movie. And again, though, I mean that's just a nitpick. I thought this movie was awesome, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was my least favorite
Which
part.
related. I mean, I'm jumping the gun a little bit on this because I knew we'd get to it eventually. But as you said, the fact that it's Trachtenberg makes me more optimistic about Badlands. That said, Badlands is what we just talked about. It's not the Predator out of his element. Like when I
know.
first saw the previews for Badlands, it's like, oh, you know what? I've never watched a Predator movie and thought I need to see it from the Predator's perspective and what they
Agreed.
go through. So I'm the previews made me not excited, but Trachtenberg's track record makes me balance out a little more.
I wanted to bring this up too. This movie was kind of a double win because I thought it was cool and I enjoyed it. Plus, it made me more optimistic about Badlands.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the Badlands preview just did not rock my world, and for like the same reasons you're talking about and all that. But just watching this, and being, I'm so sorry, and just thinking like, man, this dude Trachtenberg just loves the Predator. So it was like, I don't know, it gave me more of an optimism for Badlands.
Yeah. This also, the ending was very open ended, as though they felt confident there was going to be more story to come.
Yeah, I think so too.
So not only in the fact that like it kind of ends abruptly, kind of mid them trying to make their escape, and then a bunch of predators going after them.
Yeah.
But then the credits start, and then it gets the reveal of the girl from Prey is in one of their chambers, and it's like, I mean, I guess that could just be like a fun Easter egg tease, but
I don't know.
I actually hope that means they're
I do
planning
too.
on doing more.
Because
And
Prey's awesome.
Yeah.
Amber Thunder is awesome. We talked about her when we did
Novocaine.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I'd be all for it. And if it's just a cool little fun Easter egg, that's always enjoyable too.
Yeah. So we've given a lot of praise to Trachtenberg, who really hasn't directed a lot. He
Not a
did
ton.
10 Cloverfield Lane, which is
Which
a
I
movie I
like.
really liked.
Yep.
And then did Prey, and I was like, right on, this guy's good.
Yeah.
And now is just doubling and tripling down on the Predator franchise, which is,
I mean, if anyone's going to do it, I would want it to be this guy.
yeah. It had a co-director, Joshua Wasung,
Yeah.
who's not directed before. He's been like some sort of technical
Right.
craftsman with movies for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I just feel like I should give him a little bit of shout out.
Oh,
Since it is a
absolutely.
co-director thing, like Trachtenberg, obviously we know his track record, and so
Yeah.
we know we like him and his stuff, and so
Yep.
we're giving him a lot of credit. But this other guy, kudos for whatever his involvement was.
Agreed.
And there's two people that wrote with Trachtenberg. Obviously, I feel bad saying like who really cares about the writing of this, because we said it does enough, but this is all about the like visual
It
flair
is.
and style.
It is.
So I do love that the cast is mostly just voice actors, people you've not heard of.
Yes.
Animated movies don't always need to be just chocked full of like known names.
No, it can be a distraction.
And like that, it seems like the route that most big studios are going these days. Like we need to pack as many names into these
Right.
animated movies as possible. And I'm like, that sounds cool, but the voice acting is different than acting.
It
and
is.
There's a reason there's people whose whole careers are voice acting because they're so
Absolutely.
good at it. And like, let the people who that's the thing they do, let them cook.
Agreed.
That said, there are a couple known voices in this, and I
There
just
are.
want to shout them out. The most notable being Michael Biehn.
My guy.
Uh,
I love him.
Michael Biehn is a guy who has one of the greatest. You could put together one of the greatest action movie Mount Rushmores for a guy who's not known as like a big time guy or anything.
Dude's in Terminator, Aliens, The Rock, and Tombstone.
Yes, that's exactly what I mentioned.
Oh, I knew where you were going. That's incredible.
The Terminator in '84, Aliens in '86, Tombstone in '93, and The Rock in '96.
And by the way, he's good to awesome in all of those movies.
But here's the thing that's most important about him being in this, because the reality is, as much as I love him and love him in all those roles, if I didn't know it was his voice, that character would have come on the screen. I wouldn't have thought twice about like, is that a voice I know?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes on, but what's great about him being in this is it does technically now give him the distinction of joining Bill Paxton and Lance Hendricks as the only 3 actors who have been killed by Terminator, Xenomorph, and Predator.
What an honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I feel like that is some fan service, too, from Trachtenberg, just because, obviously Michael Bihn's never been in a Predator movie, but, kind of the, like, Terminator, Predator, Alien, do all have that connection, I guess, just 80s, like...
It feels like there should be a term for, like, the guys who've been killed by all 3 of those. There should be some sort of connective. I
Definitely.
Obviously don't have it off the top of my head, but...
Fair enough. But yeah, it's really cool to just know that he's a voice in this movie. Yeah. And like I said, he's always awesome. He's good in The Abyss, a James Cameron movie. He's good in that. Yeah. He's one of those guys, like, he's not an A-lister by any means, but you see him and you're just always like, this guy's good. Love this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, hasn't been very visible to us for a while. I mean, like we said, his heyday was 80s and 90s. Oh,
definitely.
And so it's just always good when you got a guy from like your past. You're like, it's just
good for you, Michael Biehn.
Comforting. Yeah,
glad to see you getting a win.
Exactly. And then the other kind of recognizable person was Rick Gonzalez, who voices the young American kid. He was in the movie Old School Spanish, and then he was in Coach Carter. He was just kind of very distinct, recognizable look. And the funny thing is I don't know what brought it to mind, but just not long ago, I was thinking, whatever happened to that guy? It seemed like he was becoming a thing. And then,
well, there you go.
Here he is being a voice actor in this movie. Is like, hey, there's something.
And I think getting guys like that who, if you know a lot about movies, you're going to know who these guys are. If you don't, you're not going to spend the whole movie trying to figure out, like you said, whose voice it is. So that's like the perfect level of star to get for this type of movie.
Exactly.
Yep.
We're not there yet. Maybe after Badlands, but we're getting to the point where there's so much Predator material. We can almost start talking about what's a Mount Rushmore of Predator movies. And again, probably not ready for it yet. Maybe after Badlands, we'll have a conversation like that. Yeah. But
I mean, I will say though, this does speak to just what an amazing creation the Predator is.
Yes.
Going all the way back to going back to the 87 Arnold movie, and just like the fact that this character of the Predator has endured for so long, and they were able to it survived the Alien versus Predator movies, which are absolute garbage. And it still just lives on. And I love Trachtenberg for making the Predator relevant again and good again, because like I said, the Alien versus Predator movies are basically just video games.
Yeah.
More or less. And he, like I said, is clearly just loves this idea and this character of the Predator, and is taking it seriously and trying to make good material around the Predator character.
Yeah.
But what a shout out to, I think it was like 2 brothers who wrote the Predator movie, the original. But then like Stan Winston.
It was like Jim and John Thomas.
Yeah.
Because Jim Thomas gets a writing credit on this one, but I think it's because he gets character by credit on all of
and I think ultimately it became a collaboration.
Yeah.
These guys who wrote it, the director, Stan Winston, who did the effects and stuff, and it's like
Shane Black, who was cast basically so he could be on set helping punch up the script.
I wouldn't argue too hard with someone if they were to say like the Predator's a Mount Rushmore of just movie. I guess he's not even necessarily a villain anymore, but like it's an all-timer.
Yeah.
It's just an all-timer.
It is. Maybe it's the bias of the age we are, but man, just the 80s giving us, well, I guess it was even before the 80s with Alien
79.
Yeah, Xenomorphs, Predator, and Terminator.
That's unreal.
Like just the idea of those 3 things being able to just like so great that the franchises just live on and continue
Forever.
on. Even like you said, with bad installments and bad
Oh
stretches,
yeah, some
that
of
they
the
still come back.
absolutely all three of those franchises have had almost embarrassing entries into the franchise, but all three of those characters too just broke completely through pulp culture.
Yes.
You could go find people who don't know hardly anything about movies, and I guarantee you they could tell you at least who two of those three characters are,
Yeah.
if not all three of them.
I would venture to say there may be like the modern version of the old school monsters of Dracula,
Yeah.
werewolf, and
Yeah.
mummy, like how those cultures
Yeah,
or those just stayed around.
They're iconic.
And then these ones,
Mhm.
and it also just makes you wonder, like, what from current times? Is there gonna be anything from current times that kind of has that?
And it sure
it's
doesn't feel
hard
like
to
we're doing
imagine.
anything. It doesn't feel like we're doing anything this good
Yeah,
as far as like Terminator, Alien, Predator.
like it's scary to think that like in 20 years somebody's gonna be on a podcast talking about like, oh man, the 2000s gave us the Avatar characters.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think. Again, I say that I make fun of Avatar. Incredible visual experiences in the theater, and James Cameron's a master filmmaker, but yet still, it's not like.
It's not like this.
Yeah.
To the point, it's like the 20th time I've hit that microphone. To the point where like the Predator and like his weapons and what he does is so ingrained in us. Like you start watching this movie and it doesn't have to reintroduce you to any of it.
Right.
We all know the Predator vision, probably. We all know that the Predator sees people's heat. Like, one of the first things I thought when I was watching this movie, in the first chapter, the Viking lady, she falls into the icy water. And I was like, oh, the Predator's not going to be able to see it. Like, it's so ingrained in us what he does and how he does it, that without even having to give us clunky exposition, we just know, like, oh, this is going to be cool because now the Predator can't use his heat vision on her because she's in icy water.
Yeah, and that was another one where I thought this is an example of something they can do in the animation that's much harder to do in real life, which it doesn't sound like that big a deal to just go underwater and fight. But because the Predator is usually practical and a guy in a suit, to have a guy in a suit underwater doing like that would be very, very tricky.
Difficult.
But you can do it in animation because it doesn't have the same obvious physical limitations.
Yeah. And the Predator is just such a great character. Like, really, I feel like the genesis of this movie was just people going like, you know what's cool? Vikings. You know what would be really cool? A Viking fighting the Predator.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what's cool? Samurais. Samurais versus the Predator.
Yeah. I will say there was a moment during that first story where I thought, it's too bad they couldn't, maybe it was just a budget issue. They couldn't just commit and do this, a live version of this, because just like Prey, like it was cool to see the Predator versus Native Americans. Like it would have been cool to see Vikings versus.
Yeah, it would.
But then it wasn't long before I just kind of got over that and got into the movie.
No, I had the same thought. I was like, this would be just a really cool movie, but it'd probably be a $285 million movie, and it would struggle to make its money back.
And that's kind of what I wonder if maybe I would love to hear Trachtenberg talk about what the inception of this movie was, what was the initial idea. And I wondered if following Prey, he was like, I've got all these different ideas for like these different time periods and places that the Predator could go, but I've got too many of them. I can't pick. And, it's hard to flesh them out. And he goes, what if I just did sort of a chapter?
I wouldn't be surprised
bunch of
at
different
all.
ones. And I could kind of get,
Because that was one of the things that people just love so much about Prey of this. It was the idea of like, boy, we've never seen the Predator in this time period or in this kind of environment. So I would bet you're right. I mean, I don't know that, but
yeah. And
he was right. I mean, that his instincts were right. It's like, yeah, that was a cool idea. Now I need to do it in a way I can do it without it being, like I said, a over-bloated budget movie. And this was the perfect avenue for it.
Yeah. I want to throw this at you and get your prediction on this. Do you think that this movie is going to end up tying into Badlands?
I do. I was going to bring this up. And I'm happy to be wrong. That's fine. It just seems like, I know I've said this a lot, but it's like Trachtenberg just is so in love with this Predator franchise right now. It really seems like he has a plan. I don't think he's just randomly making Predator stuff.
I think the fact that it showed the girl from Prey at the end, once she's tied those two together, makes you think it's more like he's going to tie these next two. And then you realize, like, well, Badlands already shown us we're going to be on the Predator planet. And this ended with them trying to escape the Predator planet. Yeah. So I wonder if that's...
Dude, I'm going to tell you this right now. If in Badlands, the Predator's getting ready to do something bad and all of a sudden Amber Midthunder's character shows back up, I'm going to be happy. Like, here's the thing. It's one of those things like we talk about. Would it just be cooler if they would have only done the 1987 Predator, and that was what we had, and it was like this amazing, maybe the GOAT action movie of all time or one of them. So it's like then we wouldn't have had, and even like Predator 2 is not that good. It's kind of a
Right.
dumb, fun B movie.
Right.
Alien versus Predator stuff's embarrassing. I did not like. I didn't really care that much for Robert Rodriguez's or Shane Black's Predator movies.
Both of them were kind of like
They were okay.
They're okay. Like I'm not offended by them, but I don't love them either.
But it's like, it maybe would have been cooler if we just only had the Predator. But if this is what we get, I'm glad it's him doing it. Yeah. And like I said, I feel like he's got a plan. Like, is this all leading to like an Avengers Endgame style Predator movie where just all these different people converge into one? I don't know. Maybe it's not, but
yeah,
I just have a hunch it's going to tie in.
I think so too, and I think it'll. It's a little bit like I'll feel bad that like I don't think a lot of people are going to go into Badlands having seen Killer of Killers, and so like then they probably know that you probably can't. You don't want to be like Marvel and be like you had to see the show to like. Yeah. But at the same time, like I'll feel good and like rewarded for having seen it.
Same. I'll tell you what it's going to make me do too is not. I really don't want to watch any more trailers or anything for Badlands.
Right.
Like I just want to. What is it like November?
Yeah, it's November. I know it's later in the year.
I wish it was sooner, but I'm gonna try really hard to avoid any Badlands like trailers, spoilers, anything like that. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So our recommendation: people watch this movie, especially if you like anything Predator. Parents. Probably don't let your kids watch this, even though it's an animated movie.
I do want to ask, which was your favorite chapter?
It's a really good question. It probably was the first chapter.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And just because, I mean, it had the benefit of going first and, getting that, like, let us see it and feel the uniqueness of it the first time through. But I also wanted to just throw out there, like, that lady was really lucky that she had the early prototypes for Captain America's vibranium shields.
It worked out well for her.
They were quite indestructible.
It did work out well for her. I will agree.
But it was a cool design, like shields that have the cut in them.
That was really cool.
So the first time she smashed them together and just decapitates a dude, you're like,
awesome.
Oh, those shields are weapons.
That was awesome. Yeah. Follow-up question: how quickly would you and I fail trying to kill the Predator? I mean, seconds, right?
Well, seconds, but we also know from it's canon, Predator, he does not fight things that aren't threats to fight back. So I think we just get left alone.
He probably, he would be so not threatened by us. He would probably sit here and podcast with us. He'd be like, you guys could not possibly be less of a threat to me.
There is literally no trophy to be had.
Yeah, there's no glory in killing you guys. That's a good point. It's a good point.
So it's nice to know that we're safe.
Good to know we're safe, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, check this out. It's really cool.
It deserves to not just go under the radar and be missed.
Yeah. Did you see like a critic score and thing? It's well reviewed.
Yes, I did. I actually have it here. So the critics have given it 95%, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
The audience is 89%.
That's a win right there, man.
Yeah. So it just tells you people who actually do check this out. People aren't watching this and being disappointed.
Correct. Now if Badlands hits, then we are really on a.
Yeah, and I'll be really curious to see, since obviously Prey, I think Prey went straight to streaming because of the COVID issues. Yeah. And then this one was obviously straight to streaming. Yeah. So even though I think they've both been well received, we haven't had a chance to see if they can actually carry a box office.
Yep. Well, I can tell you, I'm more excited for Badlands now.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah, I will be there. Well, this is really fun to get to talk about.
Yeah.
Next time we get together, we're going to be talking about...
We got some big ones.
Yeah, we got F1 coming out this weekend, and we've got Megan 2.0.
Yeah. Can't wait to have a Megan 2.0 discussion with you.
I know. I know you're just waiting to drop the tagline over and over again.
I'm trying so hard to resist. It'll just feel so weird to hear me say it, and I'll feel weird saying it.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing tagline.
I feel like you've been warming up to it our last few weeks of podcasts saying things like tucking and zombie genitalia. So
I did say both of those things. You know what? No regrets.
Yeah.
I stand by what I said.
It had to be said.
It had to be said, and I said it.
Yeah.
It's our podcast. We can say whatever we want.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for
Yep.
this discussion, and we'll see you in just a couple days.
Yeah.